Thanks for pressing play on another Pay Me No Mind Sports and Entertainment video. I'm the man here that makes it all rock wood. Please check me out on bitedownboxing.com as well as roundbyroundboxing.com. Just 2 days out personally for myself. I'll be heading over to check out the Teofimo Lopez and Masayoshi Nakatani card Friday night on ESPN. Very excited to be heading over there to the to the MGM National Harbor. And then, of course, Saturday is the big one. One of the, actually, a really excellent, I know I've been critical of pay-per-views and indirectly, I guess, critical of PBC because they've been the main ones behind, pay-per-views this year. There was the disappointing top rank one with Bud and Amir Khan. We knew that one was failed going in, despite the fact they tried to, get that off. But you ever seen that movie Better Off Dead? It's an older movie, probably late 80s, I want to say. But there's a scene. It's a teenager that's having some problems, I guess, is the main thesis of it, or the main theme of it. And at the end of it, when things have gone wrong for the kid, he ends up in the back of a trash truck. And this black character says, "That's a shame it's a shame when people throw away a perfectly good white boy." And that's kind of my sentiments here with Mike Lee versus Caleb Plant. At the end of the night, he may take a beating where he'd be better off dead, and and we could be saying, why did they put him in there with Caleb Plant? I'm not getting ahead of schedule with Caleb Plant. Going into the fight with Jose Uzcategui, he showed some promise. But, and we know he has some skills. It was just, how could he apply it over 12 rounds? How would his power, could he sit back and only, rely on his defenses heavily as he does at times? He wasn't a high volume puncher, hadn't shown the great, exceptional power. Like, how would he bring the set of skills that he has? And how would he apply those against at the world-class level and be successful? Based on the other guys who we had seen, Zerto, Jesse Hart to a degree, Benavidez, everybody seemed to have something that was, at least one tool that was a standout or was exceptional. Maybe not Jesse Hart so much, to a degree. But then Jesse Hart knocked out an opponent of a mutual opponent with Caleb, knocked him out in the second round or something, I believe, or maybe it was the first, African cat. And then Caleb Plant went the distance with the guy. So that kind of made you look at, again, it was some more added to the story, or, to the equation there. But going into this fight, how do you give Mike Lee a lot of, and incidentally or ironically, John Cusack was the teenager in the movie who was thrown in the trash truck, who's a notable Chicago celebrity, and Mike Lee now here is based in the Chicago area. But yeah, I've caught Mike Lee in the ring a couple of times, not in person, but just with some of the action at the Pavilion and that Rose something, But I saw him on CBS Sports. I believe it was on something with one of the late Ed Brown cards that I was able to catch. And I just didn't see anything next level. What is the term now? Special effects. I didn't see any real special effects from Mike Lee. And Caleb Plant is a guy with a lot of confidence, especially coming off of the big upset win and, just a career-defining performance. And I just don't see a guy like Mike Lee slowing him up. The rest of the card though is dope. Like I said, I honestly don't have any criticism. Neary is an exciting cat, a guy to watch against Payano. Payano needing to get back on it after being stopped so explosively against Inoue in the WBSS. There's also Lipinets and Molina Jr. That should be some fireworks in that one. Jordanis, you guys, and Figueroa. So, whereas the Spence card was underwhelming in my opinion, most of the undercard was underwhelming, and I think Neary was on the Broner or Pacquiao Broner, but that card struggled for me as well. Like I said, I think it's good value on this card, honestly. I'm up in the air if I'm going to be able to see it because of another engagement that I got going on Saturday. One thing before moving on from this Pacquiao and Thurman fight, I already put my winner out there the other day. I do want to, I'll reiterate that in a second, but Freddie Roach and Manny Pacquiao, please leave the Floyd Mayweather situation alone. Please, if you were gonna do it, if you were gonna knock out Keith or defeat Keith and then call him out, well then do that. But to sit here and float out anything Floyd related prior to the fight, why? Floyd is out doing, he's counting millions of dollars in his kitchen or whatever, and traveling around and taking offers, for exhibitions and whatnot, and traveling the world and trying to, add on girl collection franchises and whatnot. 42-year-old guy, I believe. It's just not likely that he's that concerned about you. Just move on. The last topic, looking at this situation, I've mentioned it before. I guess nobody cares. What I was gonna say about Keith Thurman. I didn't know if I drove this home in my prediction, but I think, like I said, Keith Thurman may not be the one time anymore. He may not live up to that name anymore, that his nickname anymore. But he will. I expect him to be able to use his feet for all 12 rounds, and I think that could be a major key here in him being victorious is his feet and movement, covering a lot of ground in the ring, making an older Pacquiao really work. Although Pacquiao's never had a stamina issue, but I just think reach advantage and whatnot, youth, along with Keith's feet, that might be his key to victory. His path to victory is through his feet. And obviously, he has decent punching power, a good punching power. And Pacquiao's never really been that sophisticated of a fighter, to kind of overcome the natural or the physical advantages that Keith has, in my opinion. Last topic, getting over to the Eddie Hearn, AJ versus Ruiz situation. The contract situation here, what was allegedly or reportedly signed and agreed to prior to the fight, really takes a lot of emotion and a lot of bias out of this thing. A contract is a contract, so I don't know what it pays to root for lawyers and to root for Ruiz now to be the A side and call the shots, etc., etc., etc. When you were desperate, when you wanted this opportunity, and when you were given this opportunity, you agreed to some things. So now here on the other side of it, fight for your money, get the money that you deserve, but to say that you won't fight in the UK and for people to go along and root for this, although, as a champion, you should be able to fight wherever. I get all of that. But like I said, again, it doesn't really matter what I think, what I feel, what my opinion is. The contract is the contract. And supposedly the contract stated that AJ had final say on venue, location, and whatever. So like I said, get your money, make the fight. The way that things are setting up, the way that the calendar looks, you might want to start looking at this thing as a potential trilogy, and the fact that I'm not so sure that Ruiz doesn't win the rematch. It's a fighter that has a lot going on, a lot of uncertainty. Shout out to Mike Tyson, calling out some things, looking for his identity, looking deep within himself to see what he really is and what he has been. This is a guy that you can still defeat, and maybe even soundly. So, do what you need to do, but again, you signed a contract. Now, I guess for me, is it leaving an opening now that, many people have said and have ran out here with the viewpoint that Anthony Joshua should take a couple of different fights and regroup and then come back to this fight. I didn't really agree with that. I didn't. But here in this situation, this is an opportunity to say, all right, man, make another hove. You get the biggest bag most likely in this rematch with me. I think they're throwing around $20 to $25 million. But you get the biggest bag rocking with me. Cool, we'll just step back. And this is the thing, though. It's going to be extremely difficult in the circumstances to go for another world title down the road are probably going to be extremely difficult. You probably won't be able to replicate what you did the first time around in accumulating all of these belts. So that's something to consider in doing this. But to just say, hey, man, I know, go have your fight in Mexico, Azteca, whatever stadium. Go do that, and go see what you're earning potential. Of course, he probably makes good money there. Probably. Is it 20 million? I don't know about that. Is it 15? Is it 12? I mean, I honestly don't know about that. But again, give him go do that. And then go back and make all the tweaks and the changes and the updates and upgrades that you need to make and go on with your career. It kind of presents that opportunity. I think, to me, it's a little crazy. We just saw this last week with Murata, with Ryoto Murata, avenging his loss to his October 2018 loss to Rob Brandt. You see, it made a world of difference. He came over here, took a beating from Rob Brandt, 1,262 punches, unanimous decision loss. And, here's a person that has to go back and look at themselves in the ring and not recognize what they're looking at. And then you come back, you get your home stand with it being over in Osaka, Japan, and you wipe the guy out in 2 rounds. So, and again, I mean, we come through the Mayweather era. He's deciding what gloves you wear. We're only fighting in Las Vegas. I'm getting my referee. I don't know how anything here that Hearn and AJ did going into this fight wasn't standard for boxing. But now, somehow or another, we have to vilify them, and all of the BS comes into play. And it was all standard. It was all standard procedure. Lastly, the expectation that these guys not have any rights, not have any grounds to stand on to demand anything, we completely overlooked the fact that they delivered in terms of providing fans with an entertaining fight. They tried to make the fight with Ortiz, a late replacement. They took Andy, Hearn gets no credit. And I'm not even trying to love on Hearn and be in his corner, but it's just the hatred towards different people in the game is crazy. But to get no credit to actually pick a challenger that was capable of defeating the man that makes it all work for Matchroom Boxing and Eddie Hearn. Like they could have taken another, another opponent, but here was a guy, they knew the experience differential or advantage, clear advantage. Professionally, he had 32 bouts and the one loss, so 32-1, 33 bouts. But they went on and selected this man to put on the best show that they thought was possible. Now, of course, they thought their man would still prevail, but that didn't happen. That wasn't the case. But it's just amazing what individuals sometime in boxing are able to make moves and maneuver in certain ways. And then other individuals, they do something similar or things in their best interest that are totally within the confines of boxing, and it's all scoffed at. But it is what it is. Let me get on the road to get on out of here. Like I said, man, could be a lot of pain for Mike Lee Saturday night. But we'll see. It's been a year of some crazy upsets, man. He's a guy that's coming down. Maybe he has some tools and some wrinkles that we're unaware of. Maybe the best brings out his best. Fighting the best brings out Mike Lee's best. But hey, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great.